Welcome back to the channel, everybody. I am Flash, and thank you again for joining me for another Marvel Snap video. Just some quick little housekeeping things. If you notice I'm going through some issues here with my CPU, so I'm just trying to figure some things out. Hopefully this video there isn't too much stuttering or shucking jiving, but I appreciate y'all here for joining me. Please like and subscribe. The video goes a long way in helping, support me and making sure my channel grows at a decent clip. And again, everybody who's been supporting me the past few weeks, interacting with my videos and just checking me out, I very much appreciate that. So with that being said, I just want to get this video out there and talk about this deck that I've been playing a lot of right now. Let me start off by saying this is not my deck. I'm not going to take credit for this deck. This deck was being played and showcased a few days ago by one of the content creators out there on YouTube, Ramek. He's a creator from the other side of the pond there, and great player. He's a top 200 player on the leaderboard, and he makes a lot of decks that are very kind of off meta. They're not the usual thing that everybody's playing, even though sometimes he'll take the stuff that's in the meta and just make his own version of it. So that being said, here's another one of those decks here. So yes, this is a Ronin deck, and well, partially I've been playing this deck to about a 66% win rate. I've played about 77, not about, let's call it exact, 77 games with this deck, and I've netted 77 cubes with this deck. Okay, so which is 65.8, but we'll call it 66. We're rounding up here. That's simple math. Nevertheless, this deck just wins for, I'm not even sure reasons you would expect for it to just be good. And I feign in calling good because you're kind of like, okay, is Ronin good? Generally, no, right? You just play Devil Dinosaur. Is Master Mold good? No. Is Baron Mordo good? No, he's god awful, in fact, generally. Especially when Mobius was at his highest clip. But if your opponent's playing Mobius, Baron Mordo is a completely dead card. But what I have seen is that when people, I'm in the mid 2000s with this deck of my rank, and which you'll see, I got the receipts for that. You'll see that in a second. I went from about 6, 7, 8-ish thousand a few days ago down all the way to the mid 2s, primarily with this deck. For me, in my meta, it's good. Even when Master Mold doesn't hit, like if you're playing against a Loki deck, I've beaten Loki decks with this deck, but you have to be very careful. If you're playing a discard deck, go and get out of there, or against a discard deck, because they're going to beat those. A few of the games that I've lost were against discard, because they can dump their whole hand, and that makes your Ronin play. If it's a game where you have to lean into playing the Ronin package, you're not going to win that game against discard. A lot of other games, people aren't expecting it. But here's why this deck, in my opinion, succeeds. A few cards here. 3, 4 main cards. Here's the first one, if it wasn't blatantly obvious, okay? Miss Marvel is a very good card in Marvel Snap. She can win you a lot of games. It doesn't require a lot of setup. You just have to be conscious of how you're playing your game. Okay, you're like, okay, let me look at my left lane. I got 1, 2, a 2 drop, a 3 drop. Okay, good, boom. I can get the +5 in that lane. It's very not difficult at all to manage. Okay, Iron Lad is good because it copies things. I don't need to get into why Iron Lad is good. Mystique is the other payoff here, because she can copy Miss Marvel and she can copy Ronin. I've won several of these games, or quite a few of them. Ronin on 5, Mystique on 6, into with Maximus. That's a lot of extra power, because most decks, your opponent is kind of playing with 4-ish cards left in their hand, roughly, by the time the end of the game comes along. You drop that Maximus in there, kick it back up to 6 or even 7 if they were running, something like a bigger high-end deck play. That'll get you some wins, okay? And on top of all of that, Alioth wins you a lot of games in Marvel Snap. Heck, full disclosure, I've tried to record this video. This is the second time I've done it. The first time, I just didn't love the way it came out. Like I said, got some issues going with my computer. A lot of the audio was kind of out of sync, but I have a couple of the games in there. I played 2 games and I won a game straight out because of Alioth. Period. Once you've set up your game in a way where you have the priority and you know you have a lane that's kind of like, okay, you know definitely one lane they're not going to challenge and you have any slight advantage to the other lane, you're just going to win this game. Alioth is a lot of games where you just win. Like, just flat out, point blank, end of sentence. So let's oh, look at that. I've been working on some, well, I didn't, again, people put decks out and I try them and I'm like, oh, this is good or not good or whatever the case may be. And so that being said, let me get into a couple of games here with this deck. Like I said, I like it. It's been winning me games and it just works because I feel like a lot of the high, any of the, you know, if you've reached high infinite, any of those decks, and those players playing those decks, a lot of those decks end up being Loki decks, the same old thing, right? And see, this is already good for us. I got Ronin in hand, Triskelion helps with that. I'm gonna dump Master Mold on the board. We have a setup here that already that's already headed in our direction. Now, again, this is a deck that has a couple directions that it goes in, which is why it works, right? So if you do, you're either playing into the Miss Marvel route or you're playing into the Ronin route. Nebula helps with that too. Look at that Danger Room, that's even better. It's funny, I have a Maximus here that is not mine, but we're gonna play it anyway. Let's see, or heck, even better, I could go Mystique, Torch. I have no purpose of really using Torch here, but let's just get him out there and see what happens. I'm not sure if he's playing Destroy yet or if he's trying to do like a junk. Okay, well, now we know. And I'm gonna win the raft, okay? I'm gonna play Ronin here right into the raft and see what happens. See what card we pull from the raft. I like this deck because, and one of the cards that I didn't mention before was Storm. I don't need to get into, and Jeff, I don't need to get into the logistics of why those 2 cards are good in Marvel Snap and why they're especially good right now in the current meta. Jeff is just arguably the best 2-drop in the game, and there isn't much. Okay, well, if you don't have if you don't have the line, you don't have the line. Sometimes you don't have a good draw and you just have to get out of there, which happens. I didn't even snap in that instance, but I think he knew, okay, I've now played Debris. He's going to get something off of the raft for free before I have a chance to, and let's try to get one more in here, maybe a full game here. But I've beaten plenty of these junk decks playing this deck. For whatever reason, it just works into that, against that play line. I don't know why. Maybe it's because I have, you know, a decent skill level of this game. Let's see. We'll just, Iceman's fine here. And again, Iceman just a generic good 1-drop card in this game. Okay, we can deal with that Master Mold, but the only problem here is that, okay, so already based on what cards we have in hand here, I'm already leaning towards, okay, this is a Miss Marvel game. Okay, especially losing Master Mold there, not being able to add more draw into his hand. I'm just gonna play Nebula into the big house. I don't even remember what card discarded. Okay, Death. Oh, that's huge for him actually. Playing it. Okay, so naturally he's clearly playing a Destroy deck. We're gonna go Miss Marvel. Okay, it's Carnage. I'm just trying to decide here what's the... Okay, do I play Storm? And then just... Okay, well, slow down. Like I said before, you go Mystique, copy the Miss Marvel, and we're gonna put Jeff in the... No, we're gonna put Jeff in the Sokovia because he's just gonna get kicked out because of Strange Academy anyway. So let's just do that. See how my opponent feels about a second Miss Marvel on the board effectively. Cloning Vats, I've played so many games in Cloning Vats where you just drop a Miss Marvel in there twice and you're just getting... Not only are you getting those buffs twice in the other lanes, but you're also adding 5 power to the middle lane. It's seeing Cloning Vats in the middle lane when you're playing with Miss Marvel in hand. Oh wow, both those cards went middle for him. Not sure that's great. Why am I... Oh man, I 2 1-drops in the left lane. Yeah, that's... I wasn't... Okay, so here's what's fun. If he has Null, right? Because he's played Venom already, he's played Carnage. He doesn't have Death, right? He can't play Null in the left lane. So I just feel like this is he didn't destroy anything else, right? He doesn't have Deadpool going. I feel like this is a situation where I'm just like, let's move Jeff out to the left and drop Alioth in the Strange Academy. See what happens. That's it. Like I said, Alioth just flat out wins you games of Marvel Snap as long as you know what play lines that you're working around. A lot of times that's what happens. So should you play this deck? Yes, at least give it a run, see how you like it, see if you can... It's not the most difficult deck to pilot, but it's fun. At the very least, it's fun, it's different, it's not what everybody's playing, and a lot of people aren't expecting it and can kind of catch them off guard. So yeah, that's it. Thank you guys again for joining me. I'll catch you guys next time. Peace.